China Coast Guard vessel rammed a Philippine Coast Guard boat transporting a sick member of the Philippine Navy from Ayungin Shoal, according to PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela. In a post on X, Tariela recounts the incident that transpired on May 19. He says the PCG's high-speed response boat from Buliluyan Port in Palawan was deployed to a rendezvous point with the Philippine Navy rigid hull inflatable boat, which carried a sick soldier who was stationed at PRP Sierra Madre. During their attempt to bring the PCG boat alongside the Navy boat at the rendezvous point, Tariela says Chinese vessels attempted to block them. According to Tariela, the Chinese vessel still engaged in dangerous maneuvers and even intentionally rammed the Philippine Navy boat while transporting the sick soldier. Tariela says this is despite informing the Chinese Coast Guard via radio and public address system about the humanitarian nature of their mission for medical evacuation. The PCG official slams what he calls the barbaric and inhumane actions by the China Coast Guard, saying such behavior has no place in society. Despite this harassment, Tariela says the PCG and Philippine Navy successfully outmaneuvered the Chinese vessels. The sick naval staff was then transported to the nearest hospital and received immediate medical attention. The State Weather Bureau announces the end of the El Niño phenomenon. The Pagasa El Niño Southern Oscillation Alert and Warning System was lowered to inactive, while the La Niña Watch remains in effect. According to Pagasa, the El Niño phenomenon is associated with extreme climatic variability, such as devastating rains, winds, and drought. In a statement, Pagasa says conditions in the tropical Pacific have returned to El Niño Southern Oscillation neutral levels. It adds that La Niña remains likely by the July, August, September season this year. According to Pagasa, despite the El Niño Southern Oscillation neutral condition and prevailing southwest monsoon or habagat, the impacts of El Niño, such as warmer than usual surface temperature and below normal rainfall, may still prevail in some parts of the country. Senator Gatchalian bears the possible influence of Chinese criminals on the judiciary following a raid of an illegal Philippine offshore gaming operator in Pampanga. Gatchalian says that according to initial information, the Pogo operator Lucky South 99 already had its license cancelled but continued its operation nonetheless.
Nahuli na ito dati, kinansela yung kanyang lisensya pero nagpatuloy pa rin siya sa pag-ooperate. At ang mga information na kuha ko, itong Pogo meron siyang seating capacity of more than 1,000 agents o 1,000 na trabahador. Pero nahuli lang 140 plus because apparently nung nag-file ng search warrant ang PAOK, meron nag-tip dito sa mga operator. So, ang kutob ko dito, hindi lang enforcement agency, pati judiciary, meron na silang mga tao.
Gatchalian says individuals behind these corporations know how to illegally deepen their ties. According to Gatchalian, law enforcement authorities have found that foreign syndicates had been funding Pogos and working with local criminal groups in connivance with local politicians and businessmen. The senator reveals the information was disclosed by top officials of law enforcement and regulatory agencies during an executive session as part of the probe into Pogos by the Senate Committee on Women and Children and the alleged involvement of controversial Bamban Mayor Alice Go.
Nilabutan ako no, dahil nga na-confirm ng ating mga intelligence agency yung kinakatakutan natin na lumalalim na yung ugat nitong Pogo. Malalim, ibig sabihin yung kanilang impluensya umaabot na sa mga politiko, umaabot na sa mga enforcement agencies, yung kanilang galamay umaabot na ngayon kasama na yung mga lokal na criminal syndicates natin. At base sa kanila, nagkakaroon na ngayon ng interaction itong dalawa. Nakakatakot to dahil pera ng mga foreign criminal syndicates pumupunta na dito, pinupondohan nila yung local criminal syndicates. Kaya nagsasanib puwersa na itong mga masasamang elemento.
Gatchalian does not identify the officials and businessmen suspected of having links to Pogos, as he could not elaborate on the disclosures made by the authorities during the executive session in accordance with the Senate's rules on closed-door hearings. Several senators have been urging President Bongbong Marcos to completely ban Pogos in the country, pointing out that these only made the country a fertile ground for various crimes.